Welcome to the Tipsy Guest Podcast. I am your host, Marco Buenrostro, and every week I'm here with the top industry experts, amazing clients, and all my vendor BFFs to bring you the best tips, advice, and juicy behind-the-scenes stories to make wedding and event planning a breeze. So grab your favorite drink and let's get this party started! Hey guys, welcome back to the Tipsy Guest. Today, I have Matt from Power Sounds. We had so much fun last time, so I had to bring him again. Welcome back, Matt.
Thanks for having me again, man. Thanks for having me.
Like, there's just so many things to talk about when it comes... I mean, I feel like the DJs at events are the life of the party.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys are always... You know, do you even take restroom breaks?
No, not really. I really don't. Well, if you think about it, right, going back to what you were saying, like the life of the party, I mean, we're like the longest part uninterrupted, whether it's us or a band or whatever. It's like 2 hours, sometimes 3, if it's a longer one, straight. You know, usually like the ceremony, 30 minutes of pre-ceremony, 30 minutes of actual ceremony time, an hour of cocktail, hour of dinner, and then boom, 2 hours straight of us. So yeah, I always say like entertainment could definitely make or break the night because it's the longest part of the night.
I mean, what is your favorite part to DJ? I mean, you don't DJ at the ceremony, but what do you guys do at the ceremony?
Well, ceremony. We run sound, so we run mics, and then we play music. So we play the music for, let's say they're gonna have family walk down. We play music for that.
I guess I always get to the weddings late in the night when the photo booth opens, so I'm never there for the ceremony. So I'm like, what do you do at a ceremony?
Yeah, no, he's a party. No, but
so what is your favorite part to DJ? I guess, or work? The ceremony, the cocktail hour, or the actual like party?
Yeah, party for me. Yeah, party for me.
I mean, that's when you're really having fun. I mean, I'm sure you love what you do, so I know you always have fun doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like the party is where, you know, like, I mean, I feel like everyone in general, they're just waiting for the party.
Well, yeah. I mean, all of that for us vendors too. I mean, during ceremony or cocktail or dinner, these people know each other, so they're talking, catching up. For us, it's just like
we're just like
it's kind of some waiting time. Yeah, it's kind of some waiting time. So
that's the time when you kind of like talk to the people that you know, which are the other vendors.
Yes. Yeah,
that is cool. So okay, so again, I always show up to the wedding later. I normally tell my people like, hey, I recommend let's start the photo booth right after dinner because you don't want to waste that hour of people having dinner. Mm-hmm. When people are eating, people are socializing.
Right.
So what kind of music do you normally play during dinner? I mean, because it has to be a lot lower, just maybe like mellow music. What do you play?
It just depends. Normal, I mean, we're here in Texas, right? So a lot of country. Sometimes I do like a John Mayer soft rock style, or some will even do like a Frank Sinatra, Rat Pack, Dean Martin, all of that, jazz style. It all just depends though on the concept the couple's running with as well, because there's some clients that are like, I don't want a slow dinner. I'm going to have action stations, right? I'm going to have food. I want it to be lively. I want it to be fun. Or some will tell us, hey, my parents have told me I want the music really low for dinner. So we do that, Okay. It's always different though for dinner for sure.
And I know you're set up, of course, in the main area, in the main room where everything is. Mm-hmm. But for example, how do you do it for cocktail hour? Because normally cocktail hour is in a different room or outside.
Yeah.
Do you have a second setup outside, or is it just like speakers and you're DJing from inside? How does that work?
We usually have like a separate speaker with the music that the couple chooses loaded on that speaker.
Okay.
So it's not connected, but it's just out there so that way they can have some music.
Okay. Mm-hmm. All right. Is it normally a completely different style of music during cocktail hour versus the actual party?
It just depends. We've had some couples do like the same style of music for cocktail and for dinner. I always try to say or kind of spin it in a way where it's like, hey, you can infuse your musical taste in different parts of the night. So let's say there's some slower style music that you don't want played for open dance. You can use that. You could use that for cocktail, because I feel like you can kind of take them through that journey of music as a couple.
Yeah.
Even if it's not the same genre, maybe it's the same feel. Well, they can just kind of throw that in cocktail or for dinner. So you can play a lot with the music. You can really make it your own. Even with ceremony, we've had some couples do some really, really creative stuff with ceremony. Like, I forgot which group. It was either Vitamin String Quartet or Brooklyn Duo. I don't know. They did a Numb cover from Linkin Park. Well, the groom was a huge Linkin Park fan. that's like his band, and that's the song he walked down to. Only him.
Nice.
He was the only one that walked down to it. But I mean, they really added like that personal flair to their wedding. So I thought that was really cool.
And it's so, I guess to me, like, it's so cool that you guys, I mean, you have to deal with so many different personalities.
Yeah.
I mean, and I always, bring the subject back to me, like as a wedding vendor. I mean, we always try to relate things to each individual vendor, but like going back to the photo booth, for example, I mean, we deal with so many different personalities.
Yes.
I mean, mainly drunk people.
Yes.
Mainly drunk people, because everybody wants to take photos. And then the more they're drinking, the more they start photobombing other people.
Yeah.
So it gets crazy.
Yeah.
So with you, for example, I mean, what are the different personalities that you have to deal with? I mean, because I know normally your consultations are with the couples.
Right.
I mean, do you ever also meet with like the parents or like the bridesmaids, or like who do you normally meet with?
Mostly just the couple. And the reason why we want just the couples, because I want their opinion and I don't want anybody else's input, because
it's their big day.
It's their day. I don't mind when parents join. Sometimes it helps because we get a feel for the family a little bit more with the parents, because sometimes, you'll ask the bride and groom, well, what is your family used to? Like, I don't know. My mom knows, and they will kind of use that information to our advantage.
To prepare your playlist or what you're going to be doing that night.
Right. And I kind of asked them too, in a way, which is like, who's important to you that day, right? Like, I had a groom, he was like, hey, my mom's super important. She's paying for it. So I really want to kind of throw this in her for her. So little things like that.
Do you ever get, like right now that you mentioned that the mom is paying for it.
Yes.
Do you ever get at the wedding, in this case, the mom, because she paid for the services, do you ever get that person, that mother of the bride, that's always asking for songs or asking for certain things, and then she always throws that in there, like, I'm the one paying for it. I'm the one that got you paid. You need to play this. Like,
kind of. I've had a dad come up to me. He was like, are you Matt? I was like, yes, sir. Pleasure to meet you. He goes, cool. I paid for you. That's what I had. He was like, so I do want to hear a little bit of country. He kind of gave me like his little rundown, but it was all kind of what the bride and groom already wanted, so it wasn't a problem. The only thing I've had a groom one time tell me was really crazy. He was like, I don't want you to take requests from my mom just because our styles are so different. I have a lot of friends here.
That's funny.
Oh my gosh. I'm pretty sure his mom thought I was like the worst DJ ever. I mean, because like everything, I was like, we had the songs. We really did. But it was like footloose. He was like, I don't want that stuff. I want so I was like, okay. So I would just try to be real cool. Be like, let me see what I can do. Let me see if I have time. And
so when it comes to that, like I know, for example, like, I mean, it is your big day. You're the bride, you're the groom.
Right.
You want your music played at the wedding. But I mean, you have to understand also, there's a lot of people at your wedding. So you need to understand that a lot of the stuff that you personally like as the couple, it might not be the same for the guests. Like, they might enjoy other type of music. So you always got to be mindful of your guest as well. I mean, is that something that you guys discussed during your consultations?
Yes, definitely. Like, first thing I'll ask them is like, what is your guest count and what is the percentage? Is it more family? Is it more friends? If you say it's a lot of friends, then I'm going to want to know what the couple is into, because they're probably going to be around the same age. You're going to like the same styles of music and everything like that. Maybe they probably went to school, college together. But if it's a lot of family, I'm going to say, okay, what are they used to? What are we like? What's the dynamic, and what are y'all okay with though? Some couples will say, hey, like, my family's big into country. We're not. Give them like 2 or 3. Don't turn it into a dance hall, and let's move on. So I really want to know those things, at least personally for me, ahead of time. That way I'm not second guessing myself. I kind of know, okay, these are my boundaries, and I kind of know how to work it from there. But yeah, I mean, I always put it like this. It's like, you can't force people to dance what they don't know. Yeah. I did have a bride, a couple, I mean, this was maybe a couple years ago, and she was like, hey, like, my fam, I asked her, what's your guest count? What's percentage? She's like, mostly friends. It was not. It was a lot of older people. Maybe she anticipated more friends coming, and I don't know what happened, but it ended up being a lot of older people. So her biggest thing was like 2000s, 2010s. So when I opened like 70s, 80s. By the time they knew it, we're in 2000s, 2010. So sometimes how you get there,
I like that.
changes.
Like kind of like a timeline, and then you end up with what she really wanted, what they really wanted.
For sure.
That is cool. I like that. I guess like I've never really paid attention to. I mean, I know the music's always going, and I always just see the crowd going and stuff, but I've never really paid attention on how you transition, like from one song to another. I mean, and I guess that's a good thing, because that, to me, it tells me that you're really good at what you do. Because I've been to certain weddings where it's like it's a DJ, but it's like they just have Spotify playing because they cut off the song, and then they start a brand new song.
Yeah.
And you can tell that it's not mixed. Like, they just, like, stopped it and then played a different one.
Yeah, or maybe you have to know how to break a situation sometimes. Like, I had a groom one time, and he was, like, big into country. I played country really early. It was a younger crowd. It was, like, 350. They had, like, 350 guests. It was at Chandelier Green. And his thing was like, hey, man, he came up to me. He's like, dude, when you're playing country, I was outside doing sunset photos. I could hear it. Is there any way you could throw some country? And this is like 15 minutes before we're going to end. It's crazy.
That's when the party's going.
Yeah, dude, it's crazy. I mean, a lot of younger crowd, it was a younger crowd. Everybody, it is what it is. They were drunk. So I got on the mic and I was like, hey, everybody, before the night ends, our new groom wants to two-step with his bride. And I was like, so-and-so, this one goes out to you. And I played it, went off. But I feel like if we would have just went straight from crazy party to country and not knowing how to make that break, make that transition, it would have been like, what is he doing? Like, we were just all vibing out,
and then you killed the vibe. But that's what the groom wanted. I mean, it's a groom, right?
And that's why I always tell them, like, if you have anything, ask me there, because we could fix it there. Like I always say, ask me there. Yeah. Because I can fix it, for sure.
Okay. So how do you deal with people? I'm sure, I see it all the time. People coming up to you asking with their little phones because it's so loud that they can't hear it. So they put their phone up like requesting songs. Yeah. How do you deal with that?
Well, that's something that the bride and groom kind of tell us, like, do you want us to take requests? Do you not? Most will say, or I'll ask them, do you want us to use our judgment? And most will say, yes, use your judgment. So like we talked about, right? Kind of filtering different requests. So sometimes people come up to us, it's crazy hip hop party, end of the night, and they'll be like, can you play Frank Sinatra? And I'll be like, let me see what I can do. To me, it's a no, because for me, I'm not going to put one person's want in front of like the whole dance floor if I know it's going to kill it. If it's there and it's, maybe it's in the same tempo, the same genre, okay, cool. Or maybe it's a different genre, but I can squeeze it in, I think it's going to work, then yeah. But besides the bride and groom, for that, it's really just kind of depends on what they're asking for. Now, let's say I get a lot of requests for it. Yeah. Then I kind of know, okay, then
like people really want that one.
Yeah, they really want that.
What is one song that you, you've been DJing for such a long time. What is the one song that you're like, oh my God, I got to play this song?
It was Sweet Caroline for Neil Diamond.
What?
Yeah.
I love Sweet Caroline.
For me, it's tough. It's tough because it's such a slower song. So it's kind of finding the time.
But you gotta find the right time for it, which is, I would say, towards the very end,
it is.
When everybody's already like super drunk.
It is.
And I feel like they're not really dancing anymore. They're just singing along with the song, because they're so drunk that they can barely stand up. So they're just kind of like lip singing or singing out loud, I guess, to whatever you're playing.
Yeah. So and if I see it and they don't give me like a last group song, I'm like, hey, how do we feel about this song being the last group song? Because we'll make an announcement like, hey, everybody, the night's coming to an end. This next song's the last song of the night. We'll play it. And I'm like, why don't we put it there? Because it's like, so it's just different.
And what's the one song that you're always excited to play? Like that you're like, this is one of my favorite songs, and I'm glad that it's part of this wedding.
It changes. I'll probably say, this is gonna sound super I can't believe it's super cliche, but probably like this is how we do it. I don't know why. I just like it. Okay. It's a very versatile song. It works with all kinds of crowds, older, younger. So
true.
It's a very, very versatile song. So I like to just use it to my advantage because it's very versatile.
Okay. Okay, that's fair. And then going back to the personalities, do you ever have to deal with I mean, I guess we talked about the dad or the mom, saying like, oh, we paid for this.
Yeah.
And, dealing with the people that request songs all the time.
Yeah.
Have you ever had anything happen, like, like something major? I know last time you mentioned about, like somebody telling you off because you didn't play their song.
Yeah.
But like, is there something, something funny or something like that you were like, oh holy, like, get away from me, like
something, I would say something funny. This was a long time ago, like maybe 6-7 years ago. It was at the Omni La Mansión, and we were out playing, very, very fun crowd. But there was one dude that was super drunk on the dance floor, had a drink in his hand, jumping around everywhere, jumping around. So I saw him like, man, this dude has a ton of energy. Well, there's this older couple right here. He bumps into him so hard, they literally start tumbling and they slide all the way under a table. And all you see is their feet sticking out from under the table. It was like Wizard of Oz style, like just feet. So they end up like moving the table. And this couple was older. I would say they're like in their 80s. They were older. So I was like, it was me and dad. We're like, what do we do? Do we stop the music? Like, what do we do? Right? So we turned it down a little bit. And they ended up moving the table.
That's so funny.
And the man, the husband, he was just like, leave me here. Give me like a couple minutes. So that was definitely, I mean, the way they like flew, I've never seen anybody fly across slide across a floor like a missile. It was crazy.
That is too much.
Yeah.
And then so for example, when it comes to the end of the night, I know I think every DJ, you guys make an announcement like, hey, this is the last song or whatever, we gotta clear the room for the last dance. Is there always a last dance? And is it normally private?
You could do a private one. I always say we got to do a last song, because that way people are expecting, okay, it's coming to an end, and it's not so hard to get them outside.
Yeah,
because I know most of the time,
they already know, like
already know it's coming to an end, and not only that, so that way most people will kind of get on the floor. Like if they see the couple, okay, it's the last one, they'll kind of get on the floor with the couple. But it's like we talked about, you have everybody there. Okay, everybody, we're gonna be having a send off, and it's like right there. You know what I mean? They're all right there, so we can kind of move. And because most of the time these timelines towards the end get really tight.
Yeah,
depending on what's happening. So we want to try to stick to it for as close as we can.
And speaking of timelines, I know we're running a little bit already out of time here. But speaking of timelines and dealing with all these different personalities, have you, this is my favorite part, or have you ever had any issues with, because I know wedding planners can be a little bit intense sometimes. We work with almost the same planners over and over again.
Yeah.
But have you ever had that one planner where she is a psycho or he's a psycho, and they think it's their freaking wedding, and they demand things. Like, have you ever encountered something like that?
Yeah. Like I've had some try to give me a script, and I'm like, look, that sounds really good from you, but when I read it, I can't. I don't know. It's just not natural for me, right? So I'm going to stumble over it or whatever the case. Or there'll be some times where, let's say we're going to open floor. We open the floor 5 minutes in. Can we do bouquet garter? And like now, I'm like, dude, give us a couple. The bride and groom are on the dance floor.
Yeah.
Like they're not, So yeah, we've definitely had it before, but that's why we like to have that talk with the couple. If it's a coordinator we're not used to working with, right? Because we work with tons of great coordinators. It's easy. Most coordinators will tell us, hey, do whatever you feel,
because they know your work. Like they know that you know what goes on, that you go with the flow. Okay.
Or maybe they just understand momentum, right?
Yeah.
Like, there's momentum behind it. Okay, we're gonna let it simmer a little bit, and then we're gonna move into what we're gonna do next, and it's not gonna be really, really choppy. And I think that's where adapting comes into play for sure.
Yeah. So just, word of advice for you guys planning your wedding. It's always important to talk to your vendors about so many different scenarios that could happen at weddings. You might be used to going to events and just having fun, but this time you're the one planning your big day. You want it to be perfect. Don't stress about it. Enjoy it, have fun, and discuss all of those things during your consultations with all of your vendors. Most important, I would say, of course, your event planner. But then situations like that, for example, like with the song, and if you are allowed to accept, song requests and things like that, it's always good to talk to the vendors. We're here to listen to you guys. We're obviously hired to make your day unforgettable. So, it's always good to talk. We're not here to to tell you, no, we can't do that. You know, there's always...
Or to judge, right?
Yeah, we're definitely not here to judge you. We're just kind of here to tell you what works, what doesn't work, and we're always going to try to give you advice.
Right.
But at the end of the day, it is going to be your decision. You know, we're just here to tell you what could potentially work and what could potentially not work at all.
For sure.
Right?
For sure. For sure.
All right. Well, Matt, thank you so much for being with us today again.
Yeah,
and
thanks for having me again.
I'm sure we're going to have you again in the future.
Yeah,
you know, there's always so much to talk about for today. That is it. Thank you so much for joining us. Please spread the word about the podcast. Tell your BFF. If you know someone that's engaged and needs advice or recommendations, you can always send us a DM. You can visit our website. You know, we're always available. Tell our listeners, where can they find you on social media?
At Power Sound DJ on Instagram.
Perfect. There you go. Thank you so much. Until next time. Thanks for listening to the Tipsy Guest podcast. If you know someone who could benefit from these tips, spread the love and share it with them. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a review. Next round's on us. Same time, same place. Cheers. This podcast is brought to you by MVP Photo Booth, the #1 photo booth rental company in San Antonio, Austin, and Central Texas.